Hello, Mr. Wade. We're so happy to have you today. As we know, you just opened a barbershop August 1st, and it's called Roots Barber Company. And we're so happy to have you today. We're excited to hear everything about your knowledge that you want to share with our future professionals and all the barbers out there. We would like to ask you, Mr. Wade, how long have you been in the barbering industry for, and what contributed to make you successful as a barber?
So I started cutting hair when I was 13. I'm 22 now, so just about 10 years since I've started. I started cutting hair, friends and family, and kind of progressed from there. I actually took a cosmetology course through BOCES in high school. That's kind of how I got into hair itself, and then I apprenticed underneath a barber to gain my master barber's license. So I've been a professional barber now for about 5 years, and then 10 if you count all the years in the basement and all the work.
In the basement, so
Yeah.
you started at an early age.
Yeah, no, I was 13. Yep, started cutting friends and family, and yeah, I set up a little chair in my mom's old laundry room and started cutting hair.
Wow, that's awesome. The second question is, were there any dark moments in your career? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so definitely a big dark moment for me was not going to barber school. So, like I said previously, I apprenticed to become a master barber, and I never had any formal training on the state board, whether it was the sanitation side or how to properly fold towels for the shave and stuff like that. So I mean, that was my big dark moment, was not knowing everything. So when I got done with my apprenticeship, they say that you need minimum of 2 years to become a master barber. I actually used all 4 of my years. Because I didn't know everything. So I furthered my education and I went out and actually learned exactly how to do things for the state board, and then patched everything together, and then went and took my state board test and got my master barbers and kind of overcame that dark spot. But yeah, a little dark not having all the pieces for what I needed.
So basically, it's interesting that education helped you to overcome those dark moments.
Definitely.
Interesting. In fact, this actually it's a perfect stepping stone for your next question,
Yep.
which is why did you decide to become a learning leader here at Palm Mitchell School Schenectady?
So I kind of became what I never had myself. So growing up, I never really had a barber that knew the whole state board haircut, whether it was, the 14 steps in a shave, or how many towels you needed to place on the shave, for the facial. I had a barber that was really good at cutting hair, but didn't have everything. So I wanted to become a learning leader so I could teach people the fun stuff, how to do a fade, how to do a long layered haircut, and then also to be there at the same time to teach them the rest of the things when it's the sanitation or cleanliness, So I felt that for me, becoming a learning leader, it would help other people faster, than the way that I did it.
Thank you. How would you describe the importance of barbering education in a lifetime career?
So barbering education for me, it keeps me inspired. So I do know how to cut hair. I feel like education to me gave me a lot of the reason of why I cut hair and why I do what I do. So I kind of came to a point where I'd be cutting for 6 months, 8 months, and maybe my speed increased a little bit and I got a little sloppy. And then I went out and I took an advanced education class, and I came back to the salon or barbershop really inspired, really slowed down, really technical. So education to me now keeps me on my toes and keeps me fresh and keeps me inspired at this point. Back in the day, I didn't know what to do, so I was nervous, and then education to me brought me to the point of knowing how to do it, and then it became a little bit more comfortable. But no, I've furthered my education a lot. I don't think you can ever learn enough. There's always something else out there.
Interesting. So you actually need that foundation to get the best out of you. That's what education does for you.
Yeah. Destroys the fear.
Nice. The last question we would like to ask you, probably the most important one for all the barbers out there in the capital region, and also for our future professional barbers here in the school, we would like to ask you this. Do you have any final comments or tips for all the barbers and future professional barbers that are here and out there?
My biggest tip is to be balanced. I know I mentioned this before, but you know, I've taken, you know, all my education, you know, home relationship, owning my own barbershop, creating my own product line, but there's one day where I show one a little bit too much effort and another not enough effort. So my biggest tip is to find a nice balance between everything. Don't spread yourself too thin, but figure out what you have in front of you and proportion out correctly to not spread yourself too thin. That's definitely my biggest tip.
Thank you.
So I got it tattooed right there. Remind myself every day.
A tattoo about balance. Okay, thank you. I'm sure that all the barbers out there and the future professional will appreciate your experience, your comments, how you develop this interview, and we thank you so much for that, and we wish you a great career with your barbershop and here at the school with us.
No, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Wade.
Absolutely.